So this is a short video that I wanted to make to address one of the most asked questions. And every client that I run into, and every person I run into who's new to SEO, or even people who have been doing SEO for a while, have asked me this question, and it is, does word count matter? Is having a longer article good for SEO as compared to a shorter article? If that's bad for SEO? Can I outrank a competitor that has a shorter article with a longer article? Will that help me outrank competitors with shorter articles? These are questions I get asked a lot, and there's a lot of merit to this question. But answering this question is a lot more difficult than some Google employees will have you believe. Because in my testing, and this is something I will show once I start testing a lot of these things that I talk about, a lot of things that you might have heard from gurus. When I start putting this to the test, you will see the results of how this works, why it works, and the results will be in front of you. I've already started getting people who are sending me their domains, or sending me their hosting. I need hosting too, so I just don't need a domain to run these tests. And these are mainly tests that demonstrate whether or not having a keyword in the title works, having it in the H1 works, having it in H2's work, having H3's work, having longer content works. Should you put in internal links? What kind of internal links work? Does a reverse silo work? Does a silo work? All of these things will be put to the test one at a time. Now, results are not instantaneous because Google doesn't work like that. Google doesn't index websites right away. But there'll also be an indexing test, and I'll put in indexers like a mega indexer. There's some other ones that are sold on Fiverr. I'll put that to the test. I'll also put in Google's own indexing API to the test to show you guys exactly how it works. So it's not just someone just telling you something, but you see how these tests work. So getting back to what this short video is about is on Danny Sullivan, someone who's always been asked various questions, and people think he's an authority on Google, but he's not. He doesn't even understand how the algorithm works. He's just a mouthpiece for Google on Twitter. And he's really just towing the company line, so he's not going to tell you exactly what the ranking factors are. But when he was asked and this was asked before as well, this was asked a few years back, and he's always said that word count doesn't matter. Google wants you to put out helpful content, and if your content is helpful, it will rank. Now the question is this: does the algorithm understand English? Does the algorithm understand comedy? Does the algorithm understand how language works, how the English language works? Does it understand the nuances of language? Does it understand, can it take two pieces of content and look at it and say, this one looks like it's better written, authoritative compared to this one? And my answer is no, the algorithm can't do any of that. And so if the algorithm can't do any of that, what it's looking at is data samples. And if it's comparing a data set, let's say 3 articles look exactly the same and they're all helpful articles identified by a manual reviewer, all 3 other articles that look similar to those articles that the manual reviewer said that this was helpful content, the algorithm will flag as helpful content. And again, this is something I'll show you guys in testing. And so if you look at the helpful content documentation, it's and this is something that Danny Sullivan also linked to on his Twitter feed. And he said that the word count this is what he said: the best word count needed to succeed in Google search is not a thing. It doesn't exist. Write as long as those are shot for people who read your content. That's aligned with our ranking. Because now this is a very disingenuous question. He's just not even answering the question, because what length your word count needs to be will vary by industry. If you're in the e-commerce industry, it's going to be different from if you are reviewing products. If you are selling a product, you don't need like 5,000 words of content. But if you're reviewing a product, you want to go in depth, you're going to need 5,000 words of content. And even your competition is going to have 5,000 words, 6,000, 7,000, 10,000 words of content. And so to beat your competition, you'll need a higher word count and more detail. But again, I mean, this is something that I will show you why this is the case. For e-commerce, you wouldn't need it. For some other industries, you wouldn't need it. But you will need it for the vast majority of industries where you want to make money. You will need more content. And even with e-commerce now, it's becoming increasingly important to have more content that's product specific, to have more blog posts that are more detailed, that review your products, that talk about your product, that show your products in action, and link back to your products, which is also called a hub page. You need those pages to rank your product pages, or it's not going to work. So John Mueller chimed in and he said, And again, this is another Google mouthpiece, so take it for what it is. And he says, are you saying top ranking pages should have the most words? That's definitely not the case. Now again, this is a very disingenuous question, because top ranking pages, if you go and search top ranking page, there's no top ranking page with 3 words of content on the page. And so if someone asks me which is the best car and I just say Honda, will Google rank that? Even if I am the CEO of Honda and I have a page that says, you know, Honda is the best car in the world, will Google rank that? Will Google rank if I, you know, which is the cheapest ice cream in the world, and I said Walls was the cheapest ice cream in the world? Will Google rank that? No. I mean, there's no one. I mean, if that was the case, tweets would be ranking in Google search, and tweets don't rank in Google search. Facebook posts also don't rank in Google search. LinkedIn posts hardly ever rank in Google search, except for the ones that are highly detailed, and you can do the test. You can put in Google posts. You can put in LinkedIn posts, and you can see the longer posts. Other ones that rank, the shorter ones don't rank. So in a nutshell, if you're looking at this from an SEO perspective, your word count does matter, but you have to look at what your competitors are ranking with. If your competitors have 1,000 words of content, 2,000 words of content, on average in the top 5, look at the top 5. If they have that much content, that's as much content you should be putting on your page if you want to rank it. You also want to mimic the internal links that they have, especially if you're already ranking between 5 and 20. I have a video about that you can check out, and that is what you should be doing to rank that page. And if it's a highly competitive niche, you should be looking at building more cluster content around your page that you're trying to relink. That applies to e-commerce, that applies to affiliate SEO, that applies to if you have a profile page that you're trying to rank, that applies to all pages, all types of pages you're trying to rank. Don't use AI content. I have another video that's coming up about AI content. This YouTuber who was always on about AI content, generate 5,000 articles in a month, and rank like a king and all of that. He admitted to doing this. Actually tanked his rankings after a month of doing it. And I'll put a video and I'll explain why that's the case. I'll also explain why his process of trying to recover his traffic is futile. But again, I mean, it's an informative channel. You should watch it, take it for what it is. And I hope you guys liked the video, kept it short, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.